Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. My name is Tafnar, and firstly let me apologise for the jingle jangle of the chimes in the background. I've got my window open. I'm trying to vent some of the nasty man smell out of here before my girlfriend arrives for the day, so I have to apologise for that first. On to the main purpose of the video. I played, a little bit late to the party, but I played through episode 2 of The Walking Dead, season 2, called House Divided last night, and I came to a revelation. It was fantastic, really. I mean, I'm always I'm an overly passionate sort of guy, especially when it comes to video games. I consider that to be more of a good trait as opposed to a bad one, because being overly passionate in a lot of situations can lead to you being overly critical, overly cynical, stuff like that. And I'm all those things as well. But I think I value my ability to kind of see things in games that most people wouldn't. Not necessarily that I'm not trying to make myself sound like a big-headed fool here, but it's nice that I feel it's good that I can become invested, really quite personally, with the characters in video games and films, graphic novels, stuff like that. But in particularly games, and The Walking Dead, and games like The Wolf Among Us, and in the future, of course, Tales from the Borderlands and the Dark Souls Telltale type games. But specifically, going off topic here already, specifically The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 2, A House Divided. Now, I loved the first series of The Walking Dead. I thought it was fantastic. There was a few little minor details I'd like to see done differently. I think I'd probably have to play through it again to kind of bring those up, because I've completely forgotten now. All I know is that I had some issues with it at the time. They weren't massive issues, and overall they didn't kind of take away from my overall experience. But I feel with the first 2 episodes of Season 2, they've totally kind of disparaged all my previous kind of criticisms about what they were doing with the formula of the game, and now they've really stepped it up a gear, and particularly with The Wolf Among Us. I have to say I prefer the way The Wolf Among Us is done, not because it's a different style particularly, but purely because it's the setting and the way it's done is more of my kind of taste. Like, I love the post-apocalyptic. That's right, post-apocalyptic. Yeah, post-apocalyptic kind of setting of The Walking Dead. But there's a part of me which feels like that, or the real danger is the humans type thing has been done that a little bit too often. And I'm not trying to take anything away from The Walking Dead there. It does that type of thing perfectly. But because I've seen it quite often, especially with, several mediums have covered it now over the course of the last 50 years almost, I feel that it's slightly been overdone. And as I say, I'm not trying to take anything away from The Walking Dead. It brings it all back in a new, fresh standpoint, and it makes me feel like this type of story has never really been told before. But The Wolf Among Us, the setting it's so new and immersive, and kind of, I've never really played through anything like that before. I mean, obviously all of this stuff is taken from the source material of the graphic novels, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the I can't remember what the graphic novel's called that the Wolf Among Us borrows its source material from. I think it's called Fable something. I'm not sure, I'll have to look into that. But yeah, what am I talking about here? Yes, already having a rant about the Wolf Among Us. I should have to make a separate video about that and why I would kind of prefer it to The Walking Dead. But anyway, House Divided, my favourite thing within the Walking Dead universe so far. There's a moment in The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 2, House Divided, that I'm going to post up now. Actually, I won't post it just yet. I'll kind of give you an upfront kind of viewpoint as to why I think this is the two most fascinating aspects of this second episode, and of the whole kind of Walking Dead universe that Telltale has created. Number one is, I don't think this is particularly spoilery. It is majorly spoilery, actually. I'm going to reveal, obviously, if you played episode 1, you'll know that, from the next time on The Walking Dead type thing that comes up at the end of the episode, you'll know that one of the characters who you thought was dead or thought was gone comes back. So I'm going to reveal the name of that character now. So if you don't want to hear it, shut the video or skip forwards. I'll leave a little annotation in the top for you to skip forward to the next part of the video where I don't bring up the character's name or anything like that. So I'm going to show the first clip first, guys, so I can talk about it afterwards. So skip forward if you don't want to hear any spoilers.
Right here, Clem.
Now, I know that was quite a short clip and there wasn't much going on in it. There was barely any dialogue. You just saw kind of characters eating and stuff. But it speaks volumes for The Walking Dead. Let me tell, I wish I had had the microphone recording me at the time of playing that scene, because I was so, like, as soon as that decision came up, as soon as the camera zoomed in on Clementine, I knew I'd have to make that decision of who to sit with at the dinner table, and I couldn't take it. Like, of all the decisions I've had to make within the Walking Dead universe, the choices that would affect characters in the most extreme ways, that choosing who to sit with at the dinner table was the hardest decision I've ever had to make, and that speaks absolute volumes for the level of the complete. How do I even explain it? It's so difficult to explain. It speaks volumes for the level of creativity and absolute kind of emotional input that the developers, pour into each and every script for every one of these games. It's one of the most beautifully crafted, beautifully written pieces of gaming I've ever had the pleasure of sitting down and playing, and it really is. It's just the level of detail, and the way it makes you, the emotions it invokes within you. I sound really stupid and almost pathetic in a way that I'm speaking about it like this, because it's so small a thing, having to choose who to sit with at a dinner table. The decisions I've had to make within these games, that's the most sort of extreme one. And I literally had to put my phone and the controller down, pick up my phone, and have a break, and genuinely really think about the consequences of my decision here. And it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre, but that's what the game does to you. That's what the Telltale developers want from you. They want each and every kind of scene and each and every decision you make to feel like it genuinely could impact the future of the game. And in most cases with these things, I've done multiple playthroughs of The Wolf Among Us, and especially The Walking Dead, just to see if your decisions do genuinely change the outcome of certain things. And with the big decisions, obviously they do. But with the smaller ones, where it says, so-and-so will remember that, it's totally like, most of them are completely kind of throwaway and they don't matter at all. It's just a case of making you want to believe that every decision you make matters, when in reality they probably don't matter as much as you'd like to think they would. And that decision there, choosing who to sit with, probably doesn't matter at all. Genuinely doesn't matter. But because each character, the Luke and the other character, who I'm not going to mention because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but Luke and the other character, they're such great characters, and the way they're written is so awesome. You feel genuinely torn between the two. So yeah, I'm going to go shut up about that scene now and play you the other one. And this is a piece of dialogue. I think the character's name is Walter. Yeah, it's Walter. And for me, it just summed up like kind of what I thought of this world. And I felt like the developers were giving me a little subtle nod as to what they wanted me to experience within the universe itself, and what they were trying to tell me. And it's very difficult for me to explain. I'm going to show you the cut now and shut up. So yeah, go ahead guys and have a gander at this. There's no spoilers in this one. It's just a really interesting piece of dialogue. So yeah.
They say the world is over, but I'll tell you a secret. It's not. People are more political now than they ever were before. In the end, we can't change the world. All we can do is continue to learn from each other, to empathize and use our heads. All war is a symptom of man's failure as a thinking animal. Steinbeck. Have you read him?
Okay guys, so yeah, that was, watching that back now, it's quite emotional really. I mean, the character of Walter is a really great character, and so is every other character in this universe so far. I mean, they've all been fantastic. They're all, what Telltale likes to do is to make you hate a character, like genuinely feel like you dislike a character, and then kind of swivel it around to make you feel guilty almost. And they're fantastic at doing things like that. But they totally understand what they have to do as developers to make the player feel like, I don't know really. A classic example is, of course, if you've not played the season 1 of The Walking Dead, spoilers coming up, but if you haven't played it by now, what are you doing? Seriously. Like, when, is it the character of Michelle? I think her name's Michelle, the beginning love interest of Lee, yeah, obviously the main guy you play in the first game. They develop this slow, steady relationship with this woman, who you think, yeah, she's like me, she's just confused, and but she's just as strong as me as a character, and I feel like the kind of love interest cycle thing is developing, and all of a sudden they tear that rug out from under you. I can't remember the female character's name who shoots her, but as soon as that moment happened, that's perfect. Like, it encompasses what it takes to make the player feel invested in a video game. You can't feel as though you've lost something until you're totally given something to care about, and it's exactly what Telltale understand as developers. You can't make the player feel as though they've lost something unless you give them something worth losing. It's so important, and so many developers kind of forget about these types of things. They see it as throwaway things where you can just sort of put a character next to you and you can shoot them at the end of the game, and it's going to be all sad and depressing. But the thing that Telltale does, and the way it releases its games, like, people say, oh, I usually wait for all of them to come out, and then I buy them and play them through at the end. But for me, I couldn't do something like that, because I like the 2-3 month period in between the release of each game, sometimes more than that. It's time for me to kind of see everybody else's opinions. I've stopped doing that now as much because I like to kind of formulate my own, but it allows me to reflect on each and every character, and maybe even play through that one episode a couple more times, just making a few different decisions. I'll always keep the first save as my main one, because those are the decisions that I made at the time, and I feel like they're more influential in that sense. But yeah, I was meant to be talking about that dialogue scene, wasn't I? Yeah, that completely off topic here. I'm completely fanboying all over the place here, but that piece of dialogue for me just kind of summed up the story within the game. Like I say, I've used the word encompassing a lot this video, but that's because that's exactly what Telltale does. It encompasses the basic human condition into a video game, like the strive for family and freedom and safety and everything that we all kind of feel, as human beings. It's in our very soul, and it's residual. It's there. It's very much there, and that's what they play off all the time in everything they'll ever do. And they'll do it with Borderlands, and they'll do it with Dark Souls. They'll obviously take those franchises in a different direction, but they'll always stick to their way of doing things, and that's perfect for me, because they could genuinely make a good game out of any premise. Like, everybody slated them for saying, we're going to be coming out with a Borderlands game in the sort of point and click adventure game type style, and everybody criticised them because why wouldn't they? At the end of the day, Borderlands is a pure action video game. Telltale style of video game is the complete opposite to what Jesus, I can't remember what the bloody developer's name is. I cannot remember. Someone quote me in the comments if you can remember. But it's the complete opposite to what that developer does. But it could still work, because I'm a big Borderlands fan, and people slate the story and the characters, but I was really invested. You know what I mean? It's awesome. I genuinely believe that's my phone. I believe that Telltale can do anything. Like, I'm one of those people who believes you can make a great game out of anything, and I think Telltale can make a great game out of absolutely any idea. It's just one of those. Anyway, I've been going on for long enough. My fanboy gasming is run out. My balls are totally dried up like old raisins, so I need to shut up now and let you guys get on with your day. I've been chatting for more than long enough. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Please leave your feedback in the comments section below. Leave your likes, dislikes. As always, they're always welcome. Anything I can learn from, any kind of points and tips you guys can give me, how to improve my videos, stuff like that. I know I'm a long ways off, someone like PewDiePie or whatever, but it's just giving me general ideas on how I can improve these videos, because at the end of the day, I do them for me as much as I do them for you guys. I enjoy making them. It's therapeutic for me. It's awesome for me to sit down and sort of talk about these games, because a lot of my friends and family, they're not so much into games. Like, I've got a lot of friends who play video games, but not so many who are as invested in them as I am. So it's nice just to get my kind of thoughts and feelings out into a microphone and throw them into the abyss of the internet, and hope they catch somewhere. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to shut up now, and yes, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Shut up, Chris. Toodaloo.